There's a female police officer who resolutely refuses to rent a house and, having no family, lives in her car. Do you know how free and comfortable her day is? At 10:30 a.m., 26-year-old Jukai wakes up. It's the weekend, so she doesn't have to work. And since she's single, no one will stop her from sleeping in. After waking up, she simply washes her face, brushes her teeth, and starts preparing breakfast. Don't underestimate this small car. After renovations, the interior has been divided into several functional areas, and all the necessary amenities are available. Adding a toilet would make it almost perfect. But she didn't install one after careful consideration. Doing so would not only be more expensive but also create more inconvenience. Besides, in Japan, finding a place to shower outside isn't difficult. You'll understand later when, after breakfast, she drives off to find a place to shower. In Japan, there are quite a few people without a fixed residence like her. So many internet cafes offer a free 30-minute shower service. You just need to use the service beforehand. Those who only come to shower usually choose the cheapest package. A 60-minute package costing 630 yen, which isn't too expensive in Vietnamese currency. Overall, this price is quite reasonable because besides the shower, there are many other amenities included, along with unlimited free ice cream and drinks. If you have a hearty appetite, you can even eat to your heart's content. After showering and returning to her car, she continued driving to find a place to sleep overnight. Choosing a location is also very important. First, it must have free parking, and second, it must be near a public restroom. Otherwise, it would be very inconvenient. Soon she found a suitable place. After parking, she ate some snacks and drank water as a simple lunch. Her current life is quite simple. On weekdays, she works to earn money. On days off, she watches TV for entertainment, and when she's tired, she lies down on the bed to sleep. Around 6:30 p.m., she wakes up, gets dressed, and prepares dinner. Usually, if she doesn't work overtime, she cooks herself in her car. Due to limited space, that evening's dinner consisted of a plate of stir-fried mixed meat and a few handfuls of rice. The finished dish looked quite appealing, though she didn't know what it tasted like. Unlike most workers, she had chosen to live in her car early on. Although her monthly salary was only about 250,000 yen. Saving on rent allowed her to enjoy life, eat, and have fun. Moreover, she had no husband or children, so she didn't feel the pressure of family. Sleeping in a different place each night kept life feeling fresh. The joy of single life was simply being able to do whatever she wanted. That's what she always pursued after dinner. Enjoying her own nightlife on a hot summer night like this. A bottle of cold water is indispensable. She then sips her drink while watching her favorite shows. Most evenings she'll have a light drink and watch TV dramas. Life like this is truly pleasant, but the good times always pass quickly. Before 11 p.m., she has to go to bed, because she has to get up early the next morning to return to the city for work. Without sufficient health and mental strength, even driving can be dangerous, let alone working. That's a typical day for a worker. In Japan, to make ends meet, lower-income workers have to work incredibly hard. Some even having to work 2 jobs just to cover their daily expenses. Do you know how difficult their day is? At 6:30 a.m., Jenny, 30 years old, had to be on time at work. She works as a postal worker in Germany, and due to the complex preparation process before delivery, she always arrives very early. After entering the office and putting away her personal belongings, Jenny begins checking the number of packages to be delivered that day, as well as the specific addresses of each shipment. Because it's the second day of a public holiday, the workload is only about half of what it usually is. A total of only 37 packages. Once the packages arrive at the warehouse, she sorts and organizes them for subsequent delivery. Remarkably, despite the strenuous and demanding nature of her work, the pay is not high. Currently, Jenny works 38.5 hours per week, earning 2,000 euros per month before tax. After deducting taxes and fees, she only received about 1,400 euros. Which didn't sound bad, but in Europe, this income was still considered low. After arranging the goods, Jenny took the packages outside to load them onto the truck. Because her assigned area was quite large, the company provided her with a small truck and all expenses incurred during work were covered by the company. 4. However, because the population was sparse, the delivery points were scattered everywhere. The delivery routes were very dispersed. Fortunately, most houses in the suburbs were detached houses, so she rarely had to climb stairs. Letters, the job was even simpler. She just had to put them in the mailbox, and she didn't have to worry about customers being away and not having anyone to sign for them. This was also the type of mail she enjoyed delivering the most. Unlike some places with centralized collection or pickup points, her job requires delivering packages to each address individually. Even with only a few dozen packages, Jenny usually spends an entire day completing the deliveries, which shows just how hard the work is. Most of her time is spent traveling. And if she encounters packages weighing several tens of kilograms and the customer requests home delivery, the delivery staff cannot refuse, otherwise they risk complaints. Fortunately, according to regulations, the weight of each package must not exceed 32 kilograms. A rule considered quite humane. Jenny has been doing this job for 7 years. Although her current work is not easy and her income is only average. Compared to when she worked as a waitress, the conditions are much better. And her working hours are more stable. In the blink of an eye, it was 3 p.m. and Jenny finally finished delivering all the packages and went home. Working overtime was almost impossible for her. Jenny's monthly living expenses were quite high, with car payments being a significant burden. 3 years ago, to make commuting to work easier, she bought her current car and still has to pay €242 in installments each month. In addition, she supports a small child who costs around €80 to €30 per month. Furthermore, Jenny is still single and lives alone in a rented apartment. Rent and utilities cost €530 per month, and eating out costs around €175 per month. Because her income isn't high, she also takes on a part-time job as a cosmetics consultant to earn an extra €100 per month. But even that isn't enough. After deducting all fixed expenses, she's left with only about €58 a month. Wanting to change her current life, Jenny recently started studying to get her driver's license, hoping to become a truck driver in the future to increase her income. This is a typical day for a low-income worker in Germany. After reading this story, what are your thoughts on such a life? A 28-year-old Korean man, still single, works tirelessly day and night hauling goods to earn money because he wants to get married. Do you know how much risk and hardship he has to endure in a day? At 5:19 a.m., Park Cheng, 28 years old, has to wake up very early to start work. There's no other way, because he is currently a truck driver and his working hours completely depend on the cargo owner, so waking up before dawn has become normal. After about half an hour of driving, he arrives at the loading point. Even though there's a saying circulating in the transport industry, they say carrying heavy loads is better than carrying steel pipes, and going hungry is better than hauling steel coils. But to earn extra income, Good Trang still accepts the risk. Today, the goods he's assigned to transport are steel coils. While the factory is loading the goods onto the truck, he takes the opportunity to stop by a convenience store for breakfast. Due to the nature of his work, his diet can't be too lavish or luxurious. Previously, Good Trang drove for a transportation company. The job was relatively stable and easy, but the fixed monthly salary made him see no future. So he decided to quit and buy a truck worth 183 million won to handle orders himself, thus no longer having to share profits with intermediaries. After everything was ready, the day's delivery journey officially began. Because the goods were steel coils, to ensure safety, he had to drive at a low speed. This meant that even though the distance wasn't too far, each trip still took many hours. He didn't arrive at the delivery location until 9 a.m. He continues waiting for customers to unload their goods. Speaking about his current job, he frankly stated that there are many risks involved, even a slight mistake can lead to an accident. However, high risk also means high income. Currently, his monthly transportation revenue is around 13 million won. After deducting vehicle installments and living expenses, he can still keep at least 3 million won, a relatively stable income. After unloading the first truckload, he immediately sets off to take on a new trip. His life is very simple. If he's not delivering goods, he's definitely on his way to pick them up. When he arrives at the second loading point, he finds a restaurant for a quick lunch, then quickly maintains the chains securing the goods. Afterward, he has to quickly return to his truck to take a short nap because he has to drive for a long time in the afternoon. If he doesn't snatch a few moments of sleep, he really can't handle the intensity of the work. It must be said that in the context of many young people in South Korea choosing a more relaxed and less stressful life, Guk Trang's hard work is truly remarkable. All his efforts stem from his desire to buy a house in Seoul, start a family, and build a career. For someone from a rural background, without a degree or connections, only by daring to dream big and working harder than others could he achieve his goals. Afterwards, he continued driving until dark, before stopping at a rest area for dinner and rest. After eating, he would retrieve his personal belongings from the car and take a relaxing shower. Because he spent all year on the road and wanted to save money, he didn't rent a house. Which also meant he didn't have the opportunity to shower every day, so he always took advantage of every chance. When he returned to his car, the clock showed 8 p.m., but he still couldn't rest. Because he had to deliver the goods on time. The destination for this trip was Sun, the place he had always longed to live. Each time he drove there to deliver goods, he gained more motivation to keep going. After more than 4 hours of continuous driving, he finally completed the last delivery of the day. But even then he didn't have time to rest. Because after the customer unloaded the goods, he had to immediately return to the pickup point for the next morning. The 15-kilometer journey took almost 2 hours to drive. That's a typical day in the life of this single man. In South Korea,